Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another instant deck tech. So today we're heading all the way back to Legacy to check out a really sweet artifact ramp deck that goes by the name of Mud. This build recently took a Magic Online user by the name of Montolio to a 5-0 finish in a Magic Online league, so congrats to Montolio on their finish with the deck. A quick reminder before we break it all down. If you enjoy this deck and want to see it made into videos, take a minute, click the like button, the subscribe button, leave a comment, anything you can do to support your deck, because whichever deck is most popular gets a shot at being made into videos next week. Anyway, let's talk about the card. So the key idea of this deck is to make a ton of colorless mana as quickly as possible, and then use that colorless mana to cast some really huge, somewhat unbeatable threats. So Metal Worker is the best card in the deck for producing mana. A 3 mana 1/2. You can tap it and reveal any number of artifacts in your hand and get 2 mana for each artifact. So it's completely possible to Metalworker on turn 2 in this deck, and then on turn 3 you tap it, reveal, let's say conservatively 4 artifacts. That's going to give you somewhere in the 8 to 10 mana range when you count your lands in the mix as well, and you can cast basically any big thing in your deck with just the Metal Worker ramping you, your Ugins, and your other huge artifacts. So it is very good. Of course, you have to untap with it, so your opponent's going to try to kill it. It's pretty much a must-kill threat, but it is one of the most powerful ramp cards ever printed. Grim Monolith is probably on that list as well. 2 mana, taps for 3 mana, so it actually nets you 1 mana when it comes into play, but it costs you 4 to untap it. But it's pretty much one shot, gives you a bunch of extra mana. If you play this on turn 2, you're going to have access to, let's say, 6 mana on turn 3. You can even play it on turn 1 thanks to lands that tap for multiple mana, like Ancient Tomb and City of Traders. Since we're talking about lands, we might as well get Cloud Post, Glimmer Post, and Vesuv out of the way. We've talked about these lands before in a deck tech for Legacy 12 post. This is a little different. In that deck, the goal of the deck is to play things to find as many Cloud Posts as possible, along with Glimmer Posts and Vesuvas to copy them and ramp into Eldrazi. This deck just plays them because it's playing all colorless artifacts anyway, so it's kind of a free roll to play colorless lands, and sometimes you're going to play multiple Cloud Posts and use them to make a bunch of mana, but you're not really searching them out of your deck and not build around it in the same way that a 12-post deck is. The rest of the mana base, you just get some Wastelands and some Cavern of Souls to fight through counterspells, which is good when you're casting really expensive creatures. If your opponent can just Force of Will your 8-drop, it's pretty frustrating. As far as what the deck is trying to do, it's trying to either ramp into big things or cheat them into play with Kadoltha Forged Master, a 5 mana 3/5, but you tap it, sack 3 artifacts, you get to tutor an artifact from your library onto the battlefield. So one of the sweet things with this is you also have Lightning Greaves, so you can cast a Kadoltha Forge Master, maybe on turn 3, equip it up with the Lightning Greaves, immediately sack some of the artifacts you played earlier in the game, and then you get to get a huge, massive creature like a Steel Hellkite or a Wormcoil Engine, Platinum Empyrean or Sundering Titan, just really big artifact threats, and you can immediately stick the Lightning Greaves on them, so on turn 2, turn 3, turn 4, you can be attacking with these creatures with haste. They also have Shrouds, so they're hard to deal with, and some decks in Legacy just can't beat a Platinum Empyrean equipped with a Lightning Greave. Wormcoil gains a bunch of life, Steel Hellkite can wrath away pretty much any non-land permanents in this deck, you make so much mana, and Sundering Titan fight your opponent's mana base. Of course, your deck doesn't have any basics, so it's one-sided. So if your opponent has 3 different basic land types, you get to kill 3 of their lands. Since you don't have any basic land types, you never lose a land to Sundering Titan. When you're not winning with huge creatures, you have Ugin the Spirit Dragon as another way. Plus, if you negative Ugin, you're not hitting any of your stuff because everything in your deck is colorless. And then the deck has the Bog the opponent down, Stuck in the Mud plan. Chalice of the Void keeps opponents from casting their Delvers and Brainstorms and Ponders. Most often you set it on 1, sometimes on 0, sometimes on 2. This deck makes so much mana, you could even set it on more than that if you really wanted to. Trinisphere, one of the most confusing, complicated cards in Magic's history. Basically, anything that would cost less than 3 costs 3. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You always pay 3 mana no matter what anything else says. That's how Trinisphere works. So it also makes it really hard for opponents to brainstorm and ponder and play all the cheap spells that are the hallmark of the Legacy format. Lodestone Golem makes non-artifacts cost more. You can play this as early as turn 2 off of things like Ancient Tomb and slows the opponent down. And Phyrexian Revoker deals with Jaces, anything with an activated ability, also being an artifact. And then we have Staff of Domination, sort of a catch-all, does a little bit of everything. Untap your stuff, tap your opponent's stuff, gain you some life, or draw you some cards, which is kind of what Cohesive Portal does. 4 mana, one-sided Howling Mind. Every turn you just draw an extra card, assuming you vote the right way. Gives you a way to refuel, keep finding more big threats to win the game. As far as the sideboard, a bunch of graveyard hate, all artifacts, but Tormod Crypt, Relic of Progenitus, and Grafdigger's Cage. So much graveyard hate in this deck. Pithing Needle and Sphere of Resistance. Pithing Needle helps against Planeswalkers and so forth. Sphere of Resistance, kind of another Lodestone Golem effect to lock the opponent out of the game. Ensnaring Bridge to help against creatures, along with Dismembers. The one colored spell in the entire deck, just some more removal to get rid of Tarmogoyfs and Delvers and whatever creatures might be giving you trouble. And one Bottled Colster is another way to draw cards every turn, can also protect you from discard, but comes with a risk if it gets destroyed, can make you lose your entire hand. Anyway, that is Legacy Mud, and that's been our Instant Deck for today, so thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you soon.